It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
It's a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday on a Thursday here. He is Coach Trev from John Boy Media from Bally's. And by the way, hey, happy Bally's back on Comcast Day.
We're back.
I missed out on that. I think it's today, right?
It is today. Yeah,
it's back on my TV. It was incredible. It's like a Christmas miracle.
I did 6 games and nobody listened to them. So
this is great for the warehouse games distribution too.
Yeah.
It's funny. Point. Yeah, I've been seeing that all over the place. I know that it's going to be even more widespread now, but people like at bars, what am I watching right now? I got a FaceTime from Kyle Farmer 2 days ago. He's at the Twins locker room, or the weight room, excuse me. Him and Kirilloff. He goes, look at these. The difference right here. One of the TVs was on like the Olympic athletes. He's watching the Olympics, and the other TV was me playing blitzball in a warehouse in New Jersey. And he's like, this is something. So I'm excited.
I'll go blitzball every time, Trevor.
Judd hates the Olympics.
I don't enjoy
Judd hates the Olympics.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'll go blitzball warehouse games every time.
I'm in on the Olympics, and I'll watch the prime. They do a good job with the prime time, because if you missed the actual events happening in real time. And last night, my Olympic viewing reached a peak when I watched Katie Ledecky swim for 17 uninterrupted minutes in the 1500. By the way, she holds the top 20 times all time in that event.
She's ridiculous. I think those are my fun. I like watching swimming and track and field, because this is the pinnacle for those sports, right?
Yeah.
Good point. We're talking like basketball, if we're talking about golf or tennis or any of these other things, it's like, okay, well, like, are we really is this the pinnacle of that sport? And the answer is no. But for track and field and swimming, like, this is it. So I enjoy those.
Yeah. Judd just stews and waits 2.5 weeks for everyone else to be done talking about.
I just watch baseball. I watch sports I enjoy.
So, okay, we got to get into some trade deadline fallout and some other items here. But so, Trevor, all week long at SKOR North across all of our podcasts, it's our annual Power of Sports auction benefiting the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute. So for those unfamiliar, maybe you're just hearing about this for the first time today. Courage Kenny works with children and adults who experience life-altering injuries and disabilities. They offer a full range of innovative rehab therapy covering physical, occupational, and speech therapies. And last year, over 500 athletes participated in adaptive sports and recreation programs at Courage Kenny. So we're looking to raise $15,000 this week. You guys have helped us we're past the halfway point. SKORNorth.com/auction. And let's highlight one of these things. Dex has it up on the YouTube channel right now. I know people are a little bit perturbed because the Twins didn't make a huge trade, but listen, they're still in playoff position. It's still an amazing ballpark to hang out in. And right now, I think there's 17 available. Yeah. $99 per ticket. You can buy one, or you can buy all 17 if you wanted to hang out with us. We're throwing a party on the Twins executive balcony for the Wednesday, September 11th game against the Angels. It's a 6:10 first pitch. You get a ticket. You get to hang out with the SKOR North Twins Show crew here. $99 tickets to hang out on the Twins executive balcony, and we'll cheers a couple of drinks and enjoy some baseball in September. And there's a bunch of other things too. There's a Twins Champions Club experience and a team autographed jersey too that's up for bid right now. So there's buy it nows, there's bids, and you can check them all out at SKORNorth.com/auction. So
I'm looking right now. I'm on the website. This is great. This is awesome.
I mean, maybe we can convince Coach Trev to come to one of these events next year. If we give you some advance notice here. By the way, Aerosmith, I'm a big Aerosmith fan. There's still 4 pairs of tickets to watch Aerosmith's maybe last concert ever in Minnesota in a suite, a VIP suite. So there's only 4 pair available. Check those out, SKORNorth.com/auction.
We should put an item up for bid that you get to let Judd. You have to make Judd watch the Olympics. You get to sit there and just watch how mad he becomes.
Yeah.
Well, that would be worth a lot. Because,
people would like to do that. Put you through
synchronized
make
diving.
Me miserable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would bid on that.
Oh, like a day full of Olympics. Oh my God.
Judd could probably win the synchronized beer drinking competition.
Yeah.
And you know what?
4.
The 1600 though, not the sprint. Judd's a distance runner in here. He's not a sprinter.
And if I do that, good for me. It's great, but no one else has to watch it.
I see what you did there.
See? The Olympics is great. I think they're great, but I'm not going to watch them. Sorry.
So, okay, just trade deadline. Your thoughts? Fans are kind of mad, Trevor. Fans are kind of mad.
Quick.
Yeah.
Your thoughts.
Hey, listen, Trevor Richards can get lefties out. I feel like people are like taking their frustration out on Trevor Richards. He can get lefties out, but I think people wanted like a Jack Flaherty or something, and
that was never going to happen, guys. That was never going to happen. Like none of those names were ever going to come. I thought they were going to have to get really creative to bring anybody in. They probably would have had to part with Max Kepler to bring in a starter and a couple guys that may or may not have been available. I think there wasn't as many selling teams as we thought. So I don't think realistically there was many people out there that like the Twins missed on. I was talking to Derek Falvey throughout this whole process, and he was trying, to get things done. But I just don't think there was a lot of really impact players. Like Flaherty was never going to come. The whole like Dodgers, Cardinals, White Sox deal was interesting, but I don't think necessarily would Eric Fetty fit in on a team? Like, yeah, sure. Like that would have been nice to have him. But again, I just don't think that was ever going to happen. So, the Padres going out and paying what they paid for Tanner Scott, like that, it just wasn't going to happen. I think most Twins fans or anyone that's really followed the Twins, closely knew that this was going to be a very uneventful deadline. So you get Trevor Richards over. He does get lefties out. My whole thing on that was I'm happy. That's great. But why do we believe in reverse splits for Trevor Richards and not when Sean Manaea has reverse splits and we load the lineup up with righties?
It is funny how that works. Yeah.
How does that work? I was sitting up there watching that game and Manaea just bulldozed through the lineup, and he threw exceptionally well. He was getting ahead of hitters. Like that's the best I think I've ever seen him throw. But lefties have an OPS of 810 against him. Righties have an OPS of 5 whatever against him, and we loaded the lineup with righties. So I got a lot of questions. And
how does that work?
Why do we believe?
Great point.
But do you trust their reverse splits, or do you trust if you have a lefty hitter who can't hit lefties, but it's a lefty with reverse splits? How do you manage that? You believe the pitcher splits, right? You play.
Don't you go by the numbers? Isn't that what it's all about? Like we're looking at numbers. Why do we've been cherry picking a little bit too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember talking to Rocco about this like a month or two ago. Like, when do you go against like your platooning philosophy? And never, next to never. He did bring up a time.
Get out of my office.
Get out of my office, idiot. It did bring up how like Corbin Burns, for example, a right-handed pitcher, is one of the best in the game for Baltimore. He's actually much more effective against lefties. Yes. So like in those situations, Rocco will not load up against lefties because he knows he's been burned. And like that type of stuff works. But to Trev's point there with like Manaea, I don't know.
It's the same thing. He's a starting pitcher.
Yeah. It's very strange how they decide when to do it and when not to do it.
Mariano Rivera, you didn't want to send up a bunch of lefties against him. He's gonna chew their bat up. He's gonna make firewood out of it. So like that's just my thing. Like you bring over this guy who's got a great changeup that neutralizes lefty bats. So you believe that, hey, that's our lefty bullpen guy. By the way, I think Caleb Thielbar is going to be that guy. He's looked a lot better, and I think the confidence is back in him. So that's nice. Could we have done more? Sure, but again, if you believe in the reverse splits for a pitcher, but you don't believe in it for a hitter, and there's a lot of things that I kind of question. The decision making, and it's fine. Like that's his decision to make, and they're in a nice position here, 3/4 way done with the season, so they're doing things right for the most part. But I think it's a fair criticism.
Absolutely. So what was your talking to folks on the trip that you just came back from for the Twins and Mets series, Trev? What was your take on, or did you talk to players about the lack of moves as well? Because there's a report today that a couple of unnamed players aren't pleased We're told it's more than that probably, and I get that. But like, what was your in talking to Falvey and then talking to players? How did you sort of weigh the temperature in the room between those two sides?
I didn't really talk to the players a ton about the trade deadline, to be honest with you. So I don't want to just, sit up here and act like I have some inside info. That wasn't kind of what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. But again, I just don't think there was like a great fit. Like who was the fit for us? I don't think some of the guys that we thought might help the team out weren't available. Again, Nathan Eovaldi was the guy that I had mentioned a ton, but
yeah.
Falvey explicitly was like, hey, like I've been reaching out and he's not available. Like they're buyers, and they went and bought. So I just don't think this deadline really matched up with what the Twins needed. And especially, some of the price tags for some of these relievers, like would have been great to go get Jason Adam from the Rays. Sure. Like we always want to add bullpen depth. I think that's the one thing people are saying, like a starting pitcher, because we have Sim and Festa in the back there, and they're young and inexperienced, and how's that going to go down the stretch? But really, it's bullpen help, and I just think the bullpen price tag was pretty high. And I don't really care about prospects whatsoever. I'm like, ship all these prospects out. I don't care about that. Like it's big league baseball, right? But for what some of these teams paid for relievers, I can understand why the Twins were cautious. Doesn't make it feel any better as a fan. I understand that, right.
And that part's frustrating for fans. I get it. I mean, two deadlines ago with the Malley and the Lopez deadline, like, yeah, that deadline kind of bit you in the butt. You didn't get what you wanted from what you bought. You watched a couple other players with Cincinnati and Baltimore now flourish, but also like that trade deadline didn't gut you and send you back years. Like the next year, the Twins made the playoffs and snapped their losing streak. Like the misconception too of that deadline. Well, I'm glad they didn't buy because 2 years ago it screwed them. Well, actually, that didn't really define screw, because I mean, Spencer Steer's an average player, maybe a good player with the Reds, and Baltimore's got a couple big pieces, but I wouldn't say are part of the key cog of why the Birds might be the best team in the AL. Trev, though, on the pitching front, on starting front, I dropped these two guys a hot take earlier this week on the starting pitching front of the Twins. I know that Pablo has actually spun together some really nice starts. The last 7 starts, he does look a lot more like the veteran and the Pablo Lopez that we know, which is a good thing to see. However, I want Bailey Ober to start game 1 of a playoff game.
Oh, okay.
I want Bailey Ober to start game 1 of a playoff game. I dropped some of these numbers of these guys. So
they're pretty good.
They're pretty damn good. And I will say, this changes if the Twins somehow get the Royals in a wild card series.
Yeah. Then he's not starting at all.
Then he's not starting at all.
He's actually not on the playoff roster.
He's actually not on the roster. In 18 starts against everyone this year that's not named the Kansas City Royals, Bailey Ober has a 2.79 ERA in 109 innings, a .8 whip, 71 hits allowed. The dude, that's like Cy Young level stuff if you put that over 33 starts of a season. He's been the most consistent. He does run into some early troubles in the first inning, but once he gets past that, he is just on cruise control. Your thoughts, Bailey Ober being a potential game 1 starter for the Twins in a playoff series?
I think if it was right now, there would be discussion about it. He has to continue to pitch this way for sure. He's got the stuff. I don't think there's a ton separating any of those guys at the top of the rotation. I think they're all around the same. I actually ask Corey all the time, like, do we call Pablo Lopez the ace of the staff? He goes, well, Rocco calls him the ace of the staff. I'm like, what about? I'm like, it kind of doesn't seem like he's the ace. It seems like we got 3 top of the rotation guys, right? Do we have an ace? Like, that's kind of what I've thought about it. So if you don't have a true ace, then yeah, I mean, that's up for debate. Who gets to start these games? And you're right. I mean, Bailey's numbers have been crazy. I was sitting in the dugout yesterday. He goes, hey, come stand in the bullpen for me. I'm like, no. I was like, I'll come watch the bullpen, So I went out there. I was watched him do his warm-up routine, watched him throw in there, and his arm and the mechanics, it's so clean right now. Everything looks exactly the same coming out of his hand, and then it just kind of darts different ways. I mean, he's really, really feeling it. I even asked him about the Royals. I was like, dude, they have to have something, right? He's like, I don't know. And I told him, I said, after the first game, I went and looked and couldn't find anything. But it seems to me that the Royals do have something on him because it's been two starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where were the starts? Remind me. Were they in
one here, one there?
Yeah. The first one was
the
in
real
Kansas
bad
City.
one was in Kansas City has. So we talked about this a couple months ago. That's some weird home road things going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't hate it, Dex. I don't. I think that you got to, like anything, man, you got to ride, you got to see what's right in front of you. And if he's the hot hand, you got to ride with the hot hand. It's so important to get a series lead. I like it. I think, look, I don't think the Twins starting pitching is as in dire straits like a lot of people kind of have led to believe. Like, I think Festa showing that he's been able to pitch the way he's pitched over the last couple of starts, like that's really nice. Sim has been struggling like with a put away pitch, or he did at least against the Mets. Like, he couldn't really put anybody away. It was like foul ball after foul ball, get ahead of guys and just they extend the at bat. And then before you know it, he's either getting up a hit or walking, so back into the bullpen or back into the rotation, obviously question marks, but I don't think it's like crazy bad. Then again, in the playoffs, you don't really need those guys. So if you went into a playoff series with Bailey Ober, Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, and then like a Festa situation, I don't think that's that bad.
If you get, so I agree, like if you lose somebody or if someone has to hit the injured list for 3 weeks, now your number 4, number 5 situation gets even more dire. But like once you shorten it in a playoff series, you'd put those 3 starters against a lot of teams' 3 starters. So let's say Correa comes back in a few weeks or whatever his timeline is, and let's assume Correa health. Let's assume Royce Lewis, knock on wood. What do you think this team's ceiling is in October? Like, do you think this team in a pretty wide open American League, even without making a huge needle moving trade, can do a little damage? Get to like the ALCS for the first time since 2002. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. The ALCS, yes. I'm contemplating whether I'm saying this team for sure has a ceiling of the World Series.
Okay.
A World Series title. I'm thinking about it. I think the lineup definitely, if everyone is going, if Royce can be Royce Lewis. Now he's getting a little quick on the draw right now. His swing is a little off right now. But if Royce is a 1 OPS guy or a high 9s OPS guy, and Carlos continues to hit the way he hit, when he was healthy, and Byron continues to do what he's doing, I mean, the lineup can be a real lineup. Matt Wallner crushing homers like this, like, is huge. Like, I think the lineup is a World Series lineup. I truly do. If, I guess my only caveat is
Coach Trev.
If Royce Lewis is who we think he is, I think that's my thing. Like, he's got to be able to continue playing at that caliber of play. If that happens, the lineup is World Series lineup.
Here we go.
The back of the bullpen.
Yep.
Has the potential there. We've seen some struggles.
A lot of caveats here, Coach.
Do it.
I'm going ceiling, Judd. Like, ceiling means, like it's ceiling,
like you play the season
Ceiling is the
100
roof.
times.
Yeah. And then you hit.
By the way, Baseball Reference says if you play the season out from this point forward 100 times, the Twins win the World Series like 4 or 5 times out of 100 simulations.
And there's a chance.
I struggle with the 7-game series. I struggle with the 7-game series with them. Yep. I think that's where it kind of stops. So do I think this team can win a World Series? Yes, I do think they can win a World Series. I think catch lightning in a bottle. We saw the Diamondbacks, get to the World Series last year. Like, I think the Twins are on par with that roster, if not better than that roster. So it is about getting hot and hitting homers, which the Twins, I think, can do. So yeah, ceiling's a World Series team. I don't think there's any other way that you can say that it's not. I really don't. Do you think differently?
I want to hear Judd's answer because he's
Judd's
the lowest of the 3 of us on the team's ceiling going forward, and the most mad about the trade deadline probably.
I will start off by saying this. First of all, the American League is so jumbled that I think we need to stop assuming that they will make the playoffs, which I was guilty of as well.
Agreed.
But that wild card is jumbled, and Boston's coming a bit. And so, like, if they miss the playoffs, it shouldn't be shocking. Disappointing, absolutely. Shocking, no. I'm with Trev. I don't think this is a World Series team because I don't think they can probably, against a really good team, win a 7-game series. I think they can win the first round. I think they can win the second round. But when you go to the ALCS, I think it gets to be very, very sticky. Now, in defense of Royce, let's remember that when he came back from the injury the first time this year, they left him in St. Paul for a while, and he was terrible. And he came up here and raked. I believe, Dex, if I'm not mistaken, this rehab assignment was a couple games in St. Paul. It wasn't long.
Games.
So yeah. I think we're seeing the struggles now that he had in St. Paul. He just worked through them there. So I think if he could stay on the field, which is the big if, I think he'll be absolutely fine.
Okay. I agree. I'm not saying, yeah. Okay.
But
yeah,
I answer the question. So you do not.
I don't think they're World Series team.
Wait,
I think they can make. If they make,
you're
the playoffs.
saying we posed a question and Judd didn't answer it directly?
I did. No, they're not a World Series team.
Shout
I said they're not a World Series team. They're not going to make the World Series. No.
Sometimes what we love is when we give Judd two options and then he makes up his own like third option.
No, you asked me.
I'm with you.
Coach Trev said, "Are they a World Series team?" And I am saying no. The 7-game series to me is a bridge too far.
I mean, Baltimore is the best team in the AL, and then there's a gap. I do think there's a big gap from Baltimore to the second best team. And then the second through the 5 to 6 teams in the American League, it is, I think, maybe a dartboard throw. The team that I would be worried about getting hot here and getting everyone healthy right is Texas. Like, if Texas overcomes their gap here and Scherzer and DeGrom, and they could start a playoff series with those 3 guys. That is pack a lunch, dude. That's going to be a damn good playoff. That's as good as it gets right there. So I think there is a gap, though. Baltimore's the best team, and then who wants to be the second best team? We'll see.
I think there's an obvious team that the Twins don't want to face in the playoffs. I mean, it's the most obvious that's ever been said. I mean, they don't want to face the Yankees. They don't.
Disagree.
No.
Hard disagree.
They don't even want to go to New York.
Disagree with your disagree.
They don't go to New York.
They won one game.
They can't win in New York.
Yeah, I know. The Yankees are getting healthy and things are interesting for them. Volpe's starting to hit again. Stanton's back. This Chisholm trade has worked out so far. Yeah. I'm worried about their starting pitching a little bit. They don't exactly have what we thought they were going to have. So,
it was once upon a time.
We haven't even talked about the Guardians, who just keep winning.
I've given up. Unless the Twins take at least 7 of those 8 games, I'm kind of just assuming the Guardians are going to win this division. I don't see a path.
It's crazy what they do, what they've done, and guess what? They had a decent trade deadline. They added what they needed to add.
What a weird franchise, man. And by the way, Declan's getting clowned on like Guardians podcast now for a couple months ago putting out the wind tunnel theory on Twitter. They call you he who shall not be named, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they said they didn't want to give me any more attention that I already was engagement farming for, which was like, guys, it's fun, funny little stuff. Also, I didn't make that video, okay? I just repurposed it and put it out from someone else's TikTok.
Cleveland has the best record in baseball. Or best record, in baseball.
Yeah,
wow.
Percentage-wise.
The Phillies have struggled. Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
And they're like, every year you look at their roster, and you're like, follow baseball pretty closely. Never heard of 10 of these guys. Every single year, and they just find a way.
Well, it's not like they're like doing anything particularly great. I mean, they have like a good bullpen that's been kind of overused, but everything else, like, it's not like they have they have a top 10 offense, but I think they're around 10th when you're talking about OPS.
They are a team that, in my opinion, is ripe to be knocked out early in the playoffs. So second round.
Aren't they? I think, because part of it is
starting pitching's not been great.
I think with runners in scoring position, I think they're still number one. Like, there feels like when you're a great situational offense, how far can that? Are there teams that are just clutch for 7 months?
The Cleveland Guardians are
their baseline?
13th in OPS in all of baseball. Let me look at. I'll get you runners in scoring position because they were.
I bet they're number 1 or number 2.
I feel like the bullpen could get tired come October.
They are 7th now. They were higher before. It goes Diamondbacks 835, Yankees 833. Royals have been at the top all year long as well, 830. Mets, Brewers, Tigers. The Twins are not anywhere closer. 20th in baseball with a 722 OPS.
With RISP. Okay.
4 against Baltimore for Cleveland and 3. I mean, Twins have to sweep Chicago. Twins have. That's like a must sweep. I know you can't really ever say that. That is a must sweep. That's the last 3 games. They have to sweep Chicago.
Chicago's coming in. Chicago wants the crown, man. You know what's better for marketing? Because eventually they're going to get good again, right? To say that you overcame the worst record in the history of baseball. If I'm Chicago, I'm owning it at this point.
It's so different now though with the draft lottery. Like they can't pick within the top 10 picks this year. They in other years they'd have the number 1 overall pick, and now they can't pick within the top 10 picks.
Yep. But they are such a glorious mess, Trev.
That's such a change in how. That's a massive change in rebuilding process. Like that tanking thing it doesn't exist anymore. I think Baltimore was the last team to really take advantage of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have one more thing to throw at Coach Trev here after we say hello to Red Cow. And in fact, I have plans to go to Red Cow
delicious.
in the next couple days here with a friend. Oh. And Red Cow in the North Loop.
That's not me or Judd.
Yeah, that's not us.
Interesting.
Well, I was at Red Cow with you guys doing purple over beers.
Obligated, but yeah,
we wouldn't mind going back.
Yeah,
contractually.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna get those ahi tuna crisps that you guys make fun of me for. It's the only thing I hear now when we're out and about is like, oh, there's Mackie with his oysters and ahi tuna crisps and his penthouses. By the way, 5 Red Cow locations in the Twin Cities, 1 in Rochester. The food speaks for itself. You can see on the YouTube channel here. For the audio audience, 36 beers on tap, local brews, craft cocktails, and belly up to the bar, where there is a line of TVs for great sports viewing. Red Cow in the Twin Cities, 5 locations, 1 in Rochester. Also, Nicolay Law is here as the exclusive personal injury law firm of SKOR North Podcast. Nicolay Law knows that when you or a loved one gets injured, ordinary life can come to a stop. Things can get complicated. That's where Nicolay Law comes in. They're just a bunch of normal everyday folks who live in the Twin Cities, maybe go to a ball game, but they happen to have law degrees to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been hurt, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers, nicolaylaw.com or 1-855-NICOLAY. Last thing for Coach Trev here. It's been, 3 long years climbing and clawing back, but the Dauber, Randy Dobnak, is back in the big leagues, man. Interesting. And by the way, strikeout rate way up this year. He had like 15 swings and misses in some of his last minor league starts. So what do we think? Do you think he's like going to play a role here?
I don't really know. To be honest, if you can have him as like a long guy in the bullpen, I think that can help keep the back end of the bullpen fresh. Could he give you a spot start? Of course. There were some stats on him that he had one of the highest whiff rates and ground ball rates in AAA, which is like, that's a unicorn right there. Like that does not usually happen. So I thought looking at him yesterday in the game that he had some stuff. I think he's not going to get as much chase in the big leagues as he probably got in AAA. That's for sure. But can he be a serviceable piece in the pen? Yes, I think so. And I'm happy for him. Like, you go and he like changed his change-up grip, made some adjustments, like made his pitches better, earned his way back to the big league roster. I mean, you have to be like, to get a 40-man spot, it's very difficult. And he was able to do that. So that you got to applaud him for, continuing to work at his craft and making himself better. But as far as his role, I think that's probably what it'll be. Like, length in the bullpen, maybe a spot start here and there.
Get some maybe some situational ground balls if he's a bullpen guy too. Always
got the sinker slider going, change up. Yeah, I mean he looked good yesterday. Again, I just don't think he's going to get the amount of chases he probably got in AAA. But
none of us
happy
really
for
did.
him.
None of us.
Exactly. Yeah, AAA stats they don't always translate.
That's true.
Yeah, when Judd came up from the AAA radio sports media minor leagues, the takes were.
I was hitting home runs left and right with takes, and I came up and I just popped out all the time.
That's how it goes, dude.
You find the swing, man.
Sucked. I was in the PCL of hot takes before.
PCL.
A lot of carry on the ball.
Trevor Plouffe every week here. Usually Trevor Plouffe Tuesdays on the SKOR North Twins Show. Are you doing any more games on Bally's the rest of the year? You got another road trip?
One more series. I'm doing the Padres series,
okay,
which is in like
I can
2
watch
weeks
ya.
or something like that. Yeah, I'll be there doing it. I'm excited about that one. I'm back. Me and CP. Yeah.
CP's good,
I'm
man.
excited. He's good. He's great.
I
You know,
missed him.
his ability to work with different color guys has been, I mean, it's like you can't find guys that can do that. Like I slide in right there and we have a great rapport, and he's able to understand all the cadences and stuff like that. So he's been a huge play for the Twins.
Nice.
Is he really in the gym as much as you guys always say he is?
He is. He's always
really
in the gym.
okay.
Yeah,
he's
built,
all
these guys, man. Him and then like Dustin and Dustin Morse, Mike Herman, who work with the Twins. Like they're like gym rats now, and it's like, okay, what happened to you guys? Everyone's so health conscious.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to slam beers.
Well,
I feel
broadcasters
like
should.
Baseball though, if you work in baseball but you're not a baseball player, it's so easy to get fat because it's sitting around, food, restaurants.
Are you drinking a beer
hotels.
right now?
Me?
No, this was cold brew.
Oh.
This is cold brew.
Oh, I
just
wish
had
I was.
I
was
just
gonna
had
say.
my physical yesterday. I got an updated shot. I had my lipid test. Everything is clean. I can eat my gummy worms and beer and still have great cholesterol. I'm a genetic anomaly. It's phenomenal.
Those leaded or unleaded gummy worms that you're consuming?
Oh, leaded, full leaded. I need
leaded,
the full leaded, baby. The sugar and everything.
I
Come on.
didn't mean sugar.
The baseball guys, I get. CP, just let it go, baby. He doesn't drink.
Oh, dude.
He doesn't eat red meat. I mean, this guy's
What a
picture
loser.
This guy's a picture of health. What are you doing
He's
to
a
the
great
rest of
type.
us,
He's
Corey?
prioritizing longevity like that.
Yeah, what-
he's,
what
you
do
know
you
what?
do
He's
at Twins
kinda
games when you're
crushing it. He's so organized, and he's prepared, and he's waking up early, getting in the gym. So he's always like, "Did you go to the gym today?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, I didn't see you in there. I said, "When did you go?" And it's always like 7 a.m. Yeah,
And you're down. You're down at the hotel bar there in
Pounding
Midtown
Manhattans.
till 2 a.m.
That's what I'd be doing.
And then Corey, you're passing him. He's like, "I'm going to work out." You're like, "I'm going to bed."
I actually only had this whole entire road trip. I only had one beverage, and it was because one of my neighbors here was in town for business in New York, and we met up for a drink. But I've been, I got to go to Cabo in a week from today.
Okay.
So I gotta look tight, boys. My wife is just tight as like she looks great. I can't be
Stafford
Stafford
can't
next
go.
to her.
Yeah, does Stafford get to take a few days off training camp to
No,
go to
this is
Cabo
just
or
a
no?
family vacay. Just a family vacay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta
The
go to
kids.
Cabo.
But if I
They're forcing me to go to Cabo, so I got to be in shape.
I'm telling you, we got to get down there. But again, I can't stand next to my wife and look like a slob. I gotta fucking lock it in, man.
Yeah, dude, those Instagram photos aren't going to like themselves. So you
Doesn't
got to
bother
get
me.
the
Right.
sizzle, you know.
Exactly.
I stand by Dawn. I look terrible. I don't care. She married me. Lifetime contract, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah, you got the Bobby
There's an out
Bonilla
clause.
contract.
Yeah. Deferred money.
Every
somewhere
July
in there.
1st, I get that lump sum.
That's
All right, Trevor Plouffe Tuesday on a Thursday here on the SKOR North
Thanks,
Twins
Trav.
Show. We'll see you next week, man. All right, and yeah, skornorth.com/auction, you guys. Thank you.